Well, good afternoon, Yellow Army. We hope you've had a great weekend. Good news is that both me and Gary are still here today, Gary in particular, after Friday's interview. If social media is anything to go by, it looks like that your revelations on Friday, Gary, went down very well with the Yellow Army.
Well, that's good. I mean, supporters always like to hear of new signings, and all I can say is what I said at the time. You know, I'm excited as well because I know that these will improve us. It will make us a stronger squad for what is a very important season for our football club. And although some might not be household names, as it were, you know, that's you know, we've done a lot of work and a lot of digging, a lot of research, along with stuff that we've already got in our scouting repertoire, if you like, you know, where we write their names down if they've played against us or someone's recommended them to us. So I'm really pleased that we managed to secure these players, two of which we're going to mention in a minute, and one I'll hope to mention tomorrow. But you know, they've all agreed, so that's always a good thing. And they're all looking forward to it.
Great, that's what we want to hear. And I'm probably actually at this point, Gary, it's probably worth mentioning that a couple of people have mentioned why we're doing them rather than video, than putting an update on their website. Although the players have agreed to join the club will make a formal official announcement once all the contracts and paperwork have all been sorted out. And like Gary's just said, then hopefully we'll have a couple more names to throw at you before the end of this interview. Now, you mentioned obviously that you were going to give us a further update, Gary, but I understand you've actually got some more positive news from inside the club.
Yeah, we have. We're hoping that obviously our youth team boys and parents and you know, at all ages, and the coaches, they've all had to be very, very patient while the club works very hard in making sure that we have, you know, good training facilities, and you know, we meet all the protocol of being safe. So we're pretty certain that by around about the 10th of August, and don't quote me on this just yet, hold me to task on it, but that's the sort of date I think that people are planning on, hoping that we will get back to training for our youth team squads. You know, as I say, they've been very patient and the coaches have been very patient. So we'll be sending a letter out this week to the boys, the parents and the coaches to say, hang on in there for a little while longer, because we just want to make sure that your stay and your commitment to Torquay United Football Club is safe, healthy and enjoyable. And so we haven't forgotten you, but obviously all the protocol has been changing sort of by the minute almost, and we're just trying to make sure that we've got it right for this group of future stars.
Great, that's fantastic news to hear that, Gary, because the youth teams and the JPL squads and all of that, and getting the parents is all very important for the club, because we're all one club, aren't we? And like you've just mentioned there, these players are the future of Torquay United, aren't they?
They are, and you know, we want to give them a happy time while they're here. Hopefully, you know, some will come through at the other end and become professional footballers. Not everyone will. But for the ones that do, you know, you're saying well done. For the ones that don't, you got to make sure that they have a happy time trying to get there, and they see that we're trying to bring them out to their, you know, best potential, as it were. So then, if they do have to leave here at 16 and 17 for whatever reason, we've left them in a good position with, you know, as a quality footballer, not quite ready at the time that we've got to make that decision as to whether we, you know, take them on as a young professional. But certainly, if we've worked with them and they've enjoyed it, then hopefully they can still make a living out of the game, or at least enjoy their game. Some of them will end up doctors and you know, like so on and so forth. They'll have other vocations as well as playing football. So yeah, we're going to work very hard to make sure that they enjoy their stint with us.
Well, the pathway is certainly there. You've only got to look at your squad for this season, Gary, to see that. And you've got 4 ex-youth team players in the professional squad for the season ahead. And the youth department is something that's been rapidly improving during your time with the club, isn't it?
Well, it has. I mean, it slowed up a little bit at a certain point that we needed to have a meeting about it, and we had a big meeting with Chris Todd, our under-18s coach, Downsy, my assistant, George Edwards, and we are actually behind the scenes working tirelessly on making sure that we put the principles down so that we can talkify everyone, as I say, and there's a lot of work gone into that. And because of lots of other things about making sure that the first team training ground and the actual ground meets the protocol regulations, that the youth team stuff has sort of been in between. But we're sort of there now, near enough, and I'm sure we'll be putting out a proper statement pretty soon to let them know the exact detail.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for that update, Gary. Now, on Friday, of course, in the interview, you mentioned that you were hoping to be in a place where you could give us a further update on a couple of potential new players. Is that still the case today? Yes,
as you say, we're still sitting here, so obviously I pushed it to the limit, and nothing's happened yet. But of course, we all know Gary Warren. I think most people guessed that would be silly not to bring in Gary Warren for what we saw at the end of last season. Obviously, the season finished early with us for him because Exeter called him back. But if somebody like Gary Warren becomes available, then we'd be silly not to bring him in, because he's a great leader. He's a good competitor. He's sort of like captain material again, which is what we said we want, 5 or 6 captains. He's fit, he's ready, raring to go, and he's agreed to sign with us on a permanent deal for the coming season, which is great. And it's great to have him in our squad, somebody who's got that amount of experience and knowledge. And I know that the supporters, I'm hoping, but I also know the supporters will be very happy, because when he came into us with the few games that he played, you could see he was a real level-headed type player. Yes, he can get upset with the best of them at times, but with his own players, it's great to have that experience around, say, someone like Carl Cameron, who's getting more and more experience, but he enjoyed actually playing alongside Gary. And that calming influence sometimes helps everybody. If you've got somebody at the back, we need to stop more goals going in at that end. So that's why we brought in 2 experienced centre-halves. Gary Warren, that we spoke about, that people know about, and somebody that people don't know as much about is a lad called Fraser Kerr, and he has left Hartlepool, and we've managed to have a chat with him and obtain his services. Again, everything's always subject to medical and contract, which will be done very soon, early this week. But everybody, he's agreed. He's coming down, and he's another one who's experienced. He's 27, so he's a good age. He's a good competitor. We like him. He meets our club's profile for what we're looking for, and he's very ambitious in himself. He's played in the Scottish Premier League, as has Gary Warren, of course. I've not asked if they played against each other at all, but anyway, they both played in that. They've both had many games in at all levels. Fraser played for Scotland's under 16s right through to under 21s, which is good. And I believe that they've both got goals in them. Gary sort of proved that, but Fraser needs to relinquish the chains that maybe hold him back sometimes, because he's a good athlete, he's got good pace, and he can play as a centre half. And as I say, he meets the profile. So he's been at Hartlepool, Gateshead in the National League, so he's had experience of the National League very much so. Obviously played in the Scottish Premiership for Motherwell, had some big games there. So it's, again, very exciting that we've got two very experienced players at the back that should cut out some of the goals that maybe we were letting in last year. We was a little bit open because we was very attack minded. We still will be, but you need defenders that can defend your goal, goalkeeper that can defend the goal, and be a goalkeeper that can be confident of the people that are in front of him. So we're hoping that our goals against will be less, and that's not just defenders, that's the whole team that have got to defend. So I'm not blaming any one group, but we certainly mustn't let in the same amount of goals that we did last year. And I think we've done a lot with these two signings, along with Kyle, as three centre halves, to stop that, nip it in the bud pretty quick.
So, two imposing centre halves that have agreed to join the club there, Gary. That you must be absolutely delighted by securing both of their services. I think some Torquay fans were expecting maybe one experienced centre half to come in, but you've gone for two. Yeah,
we've gone for two. I mean, if we end up playing a five at the back, you've got three centre halves. If big centre halves that we trust, and if we end up going with four at the back, then we've got cover. We've also got cover, again, in case there's a pandemic of injuries like we have. We've also got, which we had last year, we've also got Asa Hall that can play there. We know that Ben Winter can play there if we're playing a five. So we've got good cover in that area as well. But we've got 3 6'2", 6'3" centre backs that will be very comfortable in the air, but are also, all of them are comfortable on the deck as well. So that's a big plus.
Okay, so you've got two imposing centre halves there, Gary. We'll have a look at Gary Warren first of all, because he's the one that probably Torquay fans will be more familiar with. Made 4 appearances, of course, for the club last season. As you say, he's vastly experienced, has made over 400 appearances during his career. During a 3-year spell at Newport, of course, he captained them to the Conference South title and also led them out at Wembley in the FA Trophy final. So that just reiterates those leadership qualities that you were talking about. And then he's probably best known for his spell in Scotland. He spent 6 years with Inverness Caledonian Thistle, made over 200 appearances for them, and again, many of those as captain, and the majority of those at the top flight in Scotland in the SPL. He also won the Scottish Cup up there, the Scottish Challenge Cup. He is a real winner, isn't he, Gary?
He is. And when you talk to him, and you talk to him about football, he's going to have a future in the game beyond a player, I'm sure. He's very knowledgeable. He's been, met quite a long time in this area. I think he was at Team Bath, he was at Yeovil. And I think the decision to go to Newport, was it Newport? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and Newport as well. The decision to go to Scotland was very much because Terry Butcher, who was one of England's best centre halves, asked him to join Inverness Caledonian Thistle. And so I remember him saying that he couldn't turn that down when the ex-England centre half wants you to be in his team. So, he saw that. And Gary's still got his brain, he's still got his legs, and there's a few more seasons in him yet. But he's just great to have around, because again, he's another one that is a good lad off the field as well as he is on. Very humble, very respectful, and he's been in the game a long time, and so he can teach people a thing or two, which is nice.
And the other thing that you mentioned in previous interviews, Gary, was that how important it is that people sort of buy into the the area, Dan. I mean, he spent the last 2 years at League Two level with Yeovil, and also last season with Exeter. So it's great that you're getting somebody on board that is very much from this area and is buying into that already.
Yeah, I think that's, obviously he went to Inverness, so that wasn't necessarily the whole argument. But I'm sure he's got a family, and it all works out that sometimes you can find the player within your vicinity. I think he lives in, he lives in Taunton. And as far as travelling down, he's got, no problems. He can still, his kids can still stay in school, as we've spoke about many times before, that you can't always get experienced players come down this far. And I'm sure they're happy in the area that they live in. But from our point of view, it wasn't just that. It was because, he was exactly what we were looking for. And it was great to have that opportunity to bring him in on loan so that we could, Torquayify him again, to use that word again. And he got to Torquayify, he did. And as soon as we asked him, which was a little while ago, when he knew he was leaving Exeter, at that point, we spoke to him and he was up for it right from minute one, which was great.
And that must be just what you want to hear, Gary. And it must be a big compliment to yourself and the club that somebody's come on loan and actually is eager to come back here again.
I think that's where fans come in. There were some good atmospheres in the games that he played. He recognised that the fans respected him and respected his game. They could see he was a competitor, and so when you leave and the club then comes in for a permanent, then you've got those good feelings about the club. I know he enjoys our work. He enjoys the training, what we do in training. He got very, close to the boys. In the short time that he was with us, they got close to him, and so I think he felt very comfortable, that he could come in and get straight down to work. And he'd already done the provisional stuff, had already met everybody, and enjoyed our club, if you like. So that's credit to our fans as well, and I think that's going to be important when the new players start and our fans see them, is to give them that opportunity to see that we're going to support them, that the fans are going to support them, and obviously when we start the league games, everybody will see why we brought these players into the club.
And just before we move on to the second name that you mentioned, he has got a very decent record for us, centre-back, regularly contributes with 5 or 6 goals a season. I think he's got about in the region of 30, probably over that in his season. And so it's, that's going to be a big bonus as well at a set piece, isn't it?
Yeah, we need that, and we had the question, didn't we, on Friday, that could we improve our set plays? And it's not often down to the delivery; it's often down to the timing and the technique of the players that are attacking the ball. And I think Gary's got that in his repertoire, as has Fraser. And I know that Kyle's improving on that. He scored a great goal up at where was it? The Halifax, was it? I think.
Yeah.
So that helped him with the confidence to keep working at it, and he will be better for that this year. Obviously, Danny Wright's very good in the air. We've got Asa, who's good in the air. We've got Andrew Nelson, who's decent in the air. Ben Winter can be, so it's all the corner takers should be able to do now is just shut his eyes, get the ball into the penalty area, and hopefully one of them will attack it. So hopefully we'll get more goals from set plays, corners especially, this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't fancy marking any of them from a corner, to be honest. Now, we've mentioned somebody that's 6'2", 6'3" in Gary Warren. The next player that we come to is even taller. He's a real giant. We're looking at about 6'4" for Fraser Kerr. Like you've mentioned already, Gary, he's been capped by Scotland up to under 21 level. Already at the age of 27, has made over 250 career appearances. actually began at Birmingham, but everyone will probably remember him from his spell at Motherwell, where he was. I mean, this is an SPL club where he's made over 66 appearances for the club. Also played in their Europa League campaign, as I think actually Gary Warren did, and then after a couple of spells in League One with Cowdenbeath and Stenhousemuir, has then made over 100 appearances in the last couple of years at National League level, which is very important because, of course, it's the division we're going to be playing in, for Gateshead and Hartlepool. You must be absolutely delighted that you've got him on board.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's again, in talking to him, he's a very down-to-earth character. He is a competitor, that's for sure. And he, as I've said previously, he will come out with the ball at his feet when he needs to, if given that role, which, I don't mind my centre halves if there's room in front of them, coming out and creating a problem for the opposition. But it is that experience. He's got good pace. It's the athleticism, and that's what he's got, and that's why he's had a decent career to date. And I think he's another one that is looking forward to coming down here. We've enticed him to come quite a long way from his home, and he didn't take long to make his decision. But he was happy to join us. I did ask him to look at all the Twitters of our players, look at all the Tilkey United Football Club tweets that have gone out so that you can see our highlights and our goals, etc. And it didn't take him long to say, Tilkey's the place that I'd like to play for the next season. And so it was quite comfortable that we got him. He had options, of course, because you would do if somebody's had that amount of experience. But he chose us, which is great, and everyone will see why we brought him in.
Yeah, I certainly think he must have had options. It was only just over 12 months ago that, maybe 18 months ago, that Hartlepool actually had to pay a fee to get security services from Gateshead. Made 28 appearances last season, was a regular in their starting lineup up until January. But yeah, I mean, having two centre backs with that experience, along with Carl Cameron, who's has got a lot of experience himself now. That's a really imposing centre back group that you've got there, isn't there? There's going to be a lot of competition for places.
Yeah, there will be. There won't be naturally a competition for places if the three of them are playing in a back three. But there will be competition if we end up, moving to a back four for whatever reason, tactically or whatever that situation is. But we've got competition now all over the pitch, and we've got players that can double up all over the pitch if we need to, if we do get a couple of injuries. So that was the main point about bringing the group that I've brought in to go with the group that we've got, that we have got people that can double up, and that's important. If we've only got a relatively small squad, I think it's 18 at the moment, with a couple of young lads, and as we sit at the moment, I'm very happy with what we've got, and the group that we've brought in, I can see in my head them being a good football team, but also competitive. I think we'll still score goals. I know we will. I know we've lost Reedy, but we brought in lads that can score goals. If our midfielders step up a little bit and don't get injured and are out for too long, if they're not out for too long, then they've got extra goals in them as well. So I'm very comfortable with what we've got at this minute in time, and I thank the club really for backing it all early so that we can make these decisions early, almost too early as far as before we know when the season's starting. We still don't know that yet as we speak. We don't know the words of the contracts. We know that we've agreed all the figures of the contracts, but we don't know what the National League are asking us to put in there, or how it's going to be arranged, sort of thing. But anyway, that's where we are, and I'm looking forward to getting them all together this week on Saturday. What is it now? Yeah, this week. And then it's down to work, and then that competitive spirit will start from day one.
You must be eagerly anticipating that. I mean, when it seems quite a shock to suddenly be talking about the same week, on Saturday, that you'll be meeting up with them. I mean, you must be raring to get going again, Gary.
Yeah, we are. We've had a couple of Zooms with them, just to make sure they're all okay. They all send in their forms, wellness forms. We want to make sure that everybody's okay, and they are. Touch wood. So we've got the protocol now for the training ground, and so there's a lot of work to be done by the club, and they are doing that very well and very diligently to make sure that everything's safe for the players, the staff, and for supporters if and when they can come back in. So there's been a lot of work done over the last sort of month or so, and it's credit to Mel, Jules, because the work that they've had to put in from that side of things has been unbelievable. And we've put in a lot of work from our side of things regarding the players and that sort of stuff, getting the squad together. But the club's in a good place at the moment. We've got all our players that we need on the first day of the season, which is unprecedented normally, certainly in these circumstances. And we've got everyone to the man. Looking forward, obviously, to getting going again. So as long as we keep to the rules, which we will, then hopefully we'll start our campaign nice and bright and successful.
So as you just touched upon there, Gary, it's looking very good for having a squad in place for trading starting on Saturday. In terms of having a squad fully in place to take on the rigours of the 2020-21 National League season, did you say that there's one more that we're hoping to announce at some point this week?
Yeah, we said, didn't we? It was an attacking midfield player, and we are hoping to announce that tomorrow. He is under contract at the moment, which is why we can't say his name just yet to the club, but we're hoping to organise something that we can do it as soon as possible. And I'm hoping that's it's tomorrow for us, as I've said, that we'll try and get the last name out. But it's an attacking midfield player that is also a very, very good player.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for that, Gary. Thank you for giving us the update, and I'm sure the Yellow Army will be greatly encouraged by everything that we've managed to give them today. Of course, the Yellow Army, we're certainly going to need them behind us again next season, as we always do, but probably more so than ever next season, won't we, Gary?
Yeah. Well, when I show these boys that the games, and they look at the highlights, there's always when we scored a goal, the lads always run over to the prop side there, or whichever's nearest. So they and the crowd, our Yellow Army, do appreciate the boys when they've done well. Obviously, nobody is singing when we're 4-0 down or something, and we don't expect that. But certainly, our fans are pretty educated in the football terms, and we appreciate their knowledge and their enthusiasm, because these players that we brought in, were happy to join a club miles away from where some of them live, and because of watching the videos and seeing our atmosphere that can be created. So again, I can't wait for the ruling that says that crowds can come back when we know that they can come back, because if we can start with a proactive, enthusiastic crowd, a big crowd. I don't know when the season tickets are coming out, but hopefully, people will commit themselves to our club. And I promise I'll do all I can to give them an enjoyable, successful season.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we're getting ever closer, because we can't wait to have you all back with us again at Plainmoor as soon as possible. But Gary, again, thank you for the update today. I know it's very much appreciated by the Yellow Army. And we'll part as we always do, but I'm sure we'll be speaking again very soon. Take care, keep safe, and we'll see you again very soon.